If you've ever thought about being a teacher, a really great teacher, there's this one skill that sits at the foundation of everything. It's not just about what you know, it's about creating a space where learning can even happen in the first place. So today, we're going to get into the art and the science of classroom management. All right, let's jump in.
So let me just ask you a question right off the bat. When you think about what makes for a successful school experience, what's the first thing that pops into your head? Is it a killer curriculum, a super modern school building, or maybe a teacher who's been in the game for decades? Those are all good guesses, but the research, it actually points to something else entirely.
That's right. It turns out that how a classroom is managed can actually have a bigger impact on how well students do than almost anything else. A well-run classroom provides this stable framework where teaching can happen without constant interruptions. It gets students ready to learn, both psychologically and socially. And this isn't just about keeping kids quiet. It's about creating the very conditions for learning to flourish.
And that brings us to a really important point. Because when most of us hear classroom management, our minds immediately go to, rules and punishments. But that's a super narrow way of looking at it. It's so much bigger than that.
Really, the best way to think about it is as a dynamic orchestration. It's like the teacher is the conductor of a symphony. And they're not just directing one thing. They're managing the room's layout, the timing of the lesson, the relationships between every single person, the whole culture of the class. It's a living, breathing process, not just some static list of do's and don'ts.
Okay, so if the teacher is a conductor, what's in their toolkit? What are the actual instruments they're using to create this incredible learning environment? Let's take a look at what they've got.
Now, researchers use a bit of a formal word for these tools, apparatuses. It just means a whole collection of strategies that are all connected and work together. And these aren't just for stopping kids from acting out. No, they're tools for teaching, for building relationships, and for structuring the entire learning experience.
First up, you've got your rules and conduct framework. This is your foundation. But here's the real game changer. The most effective rules are the ones you build with your students. When kids have a say in setting the expectations for their own classroom, they feel a sense of ownership. They're way more likely to actually buy in and follow them.
Next up, daily routines. Think about something as basic as how students walk into the room. Is there a clear, predictable system? Do they know exactly where to put their stuff, where to turn in their homework, and what they should start working on right away? When all that stuff is on autopilot, it cuts down on chaos and wasted time. It also lowers what's called the cognitive load. Basically, students aren't burning brain power trying to figure out procedures so they can focus all that energy on learning.
And the third major tool is all about communication channels. This is about how a teacher shares expectations, gives feedback, and calms things down when they get tense. It's about using everything in your arsenal, your words, your body language, even visual signs, to make sure everyone's on the same page. Clear communication just makes everything run smoother and cuts way down on misunderstandings.
Okay, so having the right tools is one thing. But how you use them? Well, that's guided by a much deeper philosophy. It's not just about knowing what to do. It's about understanding the core principles behind why you're doing it.
These 5 principles are pretty much the bedrock of great classroom management. And they might look simple on the screen, but they are not just a checklist. They are the active ingredients for building a classroom that feels safe, trusting, and ready for learning. Mastering these is what separates a class that's just compliant from one that's truly thriving.
This first one is huge. Be proactive, not reactive. Instead of just waiting for a problem to pop up and then trying to fix it, great teachers are always thinking ahead. They're like chess players. They design their lessons, their routines, even the way the desks are arranged, all to prevent disruptions from ever happening in the first place.
And that ties perfectly into our next point, building positive relationships.
The research here is just crystal clear. When students feel like their teacher genuinely sees them, values them, and respects them, they are so much more likely to engage with the material and follow the rules. At the end of the day, trust is the ultimate classroom management tool.
And finally, none of this works if the classroom doesn't feel fair. This means applying the rules and the consequences the same way for everyone, every time. No favorites, no biases. And this isn't just about avoiding complaints. When students genuinely believe their classroom is a fair place, it builds this incredible foundation of trust and a shared sense of order.
So, we've talked about the what, the tools, and the why, the principles. So now let's get into the how. Every teacher has their own personality, right? And there are a few different styles they can pull from to find what works for them.
Now, two styles that people get mixed up all the time are authoritative and authoritarian. The difference is absolutely critical. Authoritarian is all about top-down, my way or the highway control. But the authoritative style, which by the way research shows is way more effective, combines high expectations with a lot of warmth and support. It's about being firm, but also fair. It's about building responsibility, not just demanding obedience.
Then you have the democratic style. This approach is all about sharing power. It actually gets students involved in making decisions for the classroom. You might see things like class meetings where students help create the rules and solve problems together. The idea is that it prepares them to be active citizens in a democracy.
And another really powerful approach that's getting more and more popular is restorative management. With this style, when something goes wrong, the focus isn't just on punishment, it's on repairing the harm that was done to the community. It uses dialogue and empathy to help students understand the real impact of what they did and then find a way to make things right.
But here's the real secret. The best teachers, they aren't rigid. They don't just pick one style from a list and stick to it no matter what. No, they're flexible. They're chameleons. They blend different parts of all these approaches to fit the unique needs of their students and their specific classroom. It's about having a big repertoire and knowing exactly which strategy to pull out at the right moment.
Okay, so let's try to pull all of this together. What's the big picture here? What's the ultimate takeaway when we talk about mastering this art of classroom orchestration?
If you remember one thing from all this, let it be this. Classroom management is not a list of tips or tricks you can just pull from a bag. It's a whole system. An engaging lesson plan actually helps prevent behavior problems. A positive and trusting classroom culture makes your teaching more effective. It's all connected.
And you can really see this idea of an interconnected system right here. You've got these different domains like managing behavior, managing instruction, and managing the emotional climate of the room. And you can see how they all interact and feed off each other. You can't just be good at one of these and let the others slide. A safe emotional climate, for example, boosts student motivation, which then leads to fewer disruptions. It's all one big interconnected loop.
And that leads me to one final thought for you. A classroom where students are learning how to collaborate, how to take responsibility for their actions, how to repair relationships when things go wrong, that classroom isn't just preparing them for a final exam. It's teaching them fundamental skills for being a good citizen, for being a good colleague, for life. So the real question isn't just about what's happening in schools today, it's about you. Think back. How did your early experiences in a classroom, whether it was structured and supportive or maybe not, how did that shape the person you are today? It's definitely something to think about.